Hi, and welcome to Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast, the podcast for real estate agents absolutely everywhere. I'm Lisa B, and during this podcast, we're going to be talking about everything real estate. What's working, what's not working, AI, automation, technology, EXP Realty, and absolutely everything to do with real estate. I'll have guest speakers as well, where we'll answer your questions from the Facebook group, Let's Talk About Real Estate. So if you haven't joined the Facebook group, make sure you do that now, and we'd be happy to help answering any questions. And again, welcome to the show. Welcome back to Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast. Again, Tristan Lovell from Connected Agent.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Good to be here again.
I love this. We're going to be talking about some more tech things. We're going to be talking about tech tips to boost your results this spring, plus some other bits and pieces of AI tech that's happening. That what I want to talk about too, once we do this bit here about the spring, is talk about what other agents are doing, and not necessarily recommending what they're doing, but just what's out there that's available. You know, just so you know what other people can be doing. But let's talk about this tech tips for spring, because we're leading into a time where obviously it gets a lot busier in a lot of markets. It's slowing down a lot of areas now. There's still some areas that are really booming, like South Australia. Other areas are getting tighter, like Victoria, Queensland, New South Wales. So, you know, we sort of really want to be able to prepare for when there's hay, you know, when the sun shines. What's the saying? When the sun shines,
make hay while the sun shines.
Yeah, that's it. So that's what we want to do. We want to make sales while it's spring and everybody's getting out there, and you know, the market's boosting, because typically it does boost around that time. So
so there's going to be more stock on the market. That's what happens every single year.
Yes.
And so what we want to do is make sure that we're in the best position. We're super organized. So what I'm speaking to so many amazing agents at the moment around Australia. In Sydney, flying to Sydney tomorrow to spend some time with some Sydney agents.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, throughout the databases that I'm seeing, the systems that are in place, and the focus that agents are having right now, I'm picking up some really, really good tactics, right, and strategies to basically put them in a far better position than anyone else, right?
Right. Yeah.
And
because
so
while you're quiet now, if you're quiet now, because agents are saying, I've hardly got any listings, I've got a lot less listings than what I normally do, now's the time you double down. You know, like, you really have got to prepare for when you are busy. You know, don't just think, I've got nothing to do. What can you do? What can you do to make it easier and better when it's busier again?
100%. And so I'm all about helping agents focus on what's really important.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's going to take them closer to listing and selling more for the rest of this year. Right.
Yes.
So everything they do now is so important. And so please, you know, any agents, if you may be listening to this while you're driving, but if you do have a pen and paper, please write these things I'm going to share right now, because it's like a consolidation of some great discussions I've been having with industry leaders and also top agents as well. So
I'll put it in the show notes too, just in case somebody's got to pull over on the side of the freeway.
Yes, do that.
I'll put it in the show notes. Yeah.
All right. So if we can summarize, we're going to talk about some key metrics, right? I'm going to try. I'm making this really simple. Okay. Not overly complicated, and we're going to really cover, how can we use technology to be fantastic at buyer management, and also be really seller focused. Okay. So cleaning up our appraisals and really focus on those people looking to list in the next 3 months.
Absolutely.
Okay, come to market and for the rest of the year, but 3 months is our focus right now. And the different types of communication, right, to make sure that we're not missing out on opportunities, which is one thing that I'm seeing across a lot of businesses, is that a whole stack of appraisals get neglected and they just fall to their competition, unfortunately. So we want to protect ourselves from that.
Yes, exactly.
Fantastic. So, and this doesn't have to be long-winded. I want to be very concise and straight to the point. Let's focus on key metrics. Cool. So I'm going to go into a bit more detail into each one of these. So we want to make sure that we're maximizing our listing appointments. Okay. So there's different types of appraisals. There's your price updates. So that's where you might talk to someone, they go, oh, yeah, interested in finding out what my house is worth. You might send through a price update, and sometimes people can actually generate that automatically on agent websites. Okay,
yeah.
so we've discussed that before. So there's price updates and discussions about what a house is worth. There's a curbside, giving you an understanding of what house is worth as well. But what I'm really talking about is people that with intent to sell in the next 3 months, they're saying, look, I am choosing an agent.
Yes.
You could be one of them. You could be the agent, but they're interviewing and you've got a listing appointment, right? So we want to have at least 1 or 2 of those a week, right? But we want to have a focused hot list that each CRM does this differently.
Yes.
Okay. So some do it through categories. Some do it in a pipeline stage. So you've got Rex and Agent Box have got like a pipeline stage, which helps you with this. So if you click on a button and all those just come up straight away.
Yeah.
Okay. So your hot list. So what we want to do is have at least 30, right? So 30 in your hot seller list, which you're really upping the pace of communication, and you're really got to print out of those people. You've got it everywhere you go. You're always thinking about them.
Or people that you just believe are going to come on in the next 3 months. They've been talking about it for a long time. And it's like, you should always be, like we said before, you should always be thinking, which property can I list today? So have a list of your hot 30, whether it's people that you've appraised recently or maybe some time ago that, you think there's reason now that they may list their property now.
Yeah. Cool. And then, to match that, you've got your hot buyer list, and we're going to talk about how we're going to do that. But have at least 30, right, in your buyer list. So those people that OFI callbacks, anyone that's come to see properties, anyone you made inquiries, those sorts of people. And the hot buyer is pretty straightforward. It's like they're cashed up, they're ready to go, finances sorted. If they come to an auction, they can bid and win on the weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's really important.
Yeah.
All right. And this is where I see a lot of agents trip up as well. Some feedback from directors is that agents say someone's a hot buyer, and then for some reason they actually haven't got their finance sorted. So really be certain on, when someone's a hot buyer and you're really using those people as completing a transaction, and you're focusing on those people to over service them.
Yeah.
Right. So potentially they've got a house to sell as well, right?
That's right. And your hot buyers are one half of the transaction. So all you need to do is find them a property. So, if you've got them top of mind when you're doing your next appraisal, you might think, oh, that person, that's number 28 on my list, they might buy this. You've always got to keep those people top of mind as well. Yep.
So when you got your hot seller list and you've got also, this whole stack of appraisals, like people interested, but not ready yet.
Yeah.
And you got your hot buyers, that means you got a different conversation with either the hot appraisals or, the people that are, looking to sell the next 12 months, right?
Yeah.
And so you become that high level of agent where you're a real deal maker, you're proactive, right? You're putting these things together. You're working. And that's what you see in all the TV shows as well, right? You're really active and doing some great deals. Off market. I think we're getting to a stage now where a lot of agents, especially where we're headed now, is I'm hearing a lot of agents, really keen to do some more off market deals. They're more in control. They're almost creating the market themselves.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it should be. That's what it should be.
I know that's old school real estate, isn't it, Lisa?
That's a sign of a good salesperson. Create a deal where it never existed before.
So it's really interesting this time we're heading into. It's not more like a normal market.
Yeah.
The past few years it's been, super hot, list it and sell it. Some are like selling within days, right? In the past.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is where, we're sort of normalized. And this is where the metrics, the discipline, the focus really comes to play.
Yeah.
And lastly, I see 2 more things. Appraisals per month. Key metric is 20 appraisals per month. Some of them are hot, but 20 appraisals per month, 5 per week.
Yep.
Benchmark. And so many agents are below that. I just can't understand how they can have a career below 20 appraisals a month.
Yeah, I know. That's got to be the focus. Yeah, 100%.
Correct. Right. Do you achieve that? If you want to bring things into your control, not wait for the phone to ring, basically it's 10 conversations a day, 30 calls a day. If you've got different tools, to help you, there's great CRMs, there's Rita, there's other platforms that can really help you achieve that and focus on the right people, right time.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So we want to make that simple and not sort of waste time hunting for those people.
That's right. Get them in your pipeline.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So they're the key metrics, all right? So you got hot seller 30, hot buyer list 30, appraisals per month 20, and 10 conversations a day, 30 calls. That's it.
That's easy. Who can't do that?
Don't say it's easy. It's not easy. It's just this is
when you do
this
the
is
work,
something to work on, focus on. If you're not there yet, then just be determined.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and motivated to get there, because once you get there, then you'll feel far more in control.
If you're doing the work, Tristan, you know, if you're calling people, you're door knocking, you're phone prospecting, you're talking to people, you're promoting yourself on social media, they know you're in real estate, you know, you will do that. If you're waiting for a magic pill of social media ads that's going to get you all these leads, it's not going to happen. You know, if you do the work, you actually get the results. That's a great thing about real estate.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, this is why it's an incredible industry. I mean, all these agents out there, they've got amazing opportunities, and it's really very much about mindset, focus, systems, working the data. And so, that's where you see with these agents that are getting, 50, 100 listings, per year, in good areas, right? So now I want to really dig into the buyer management side.
Yep.
Okay, so the buyer management, again, we want to qualify those hot buyers, right? And we also want, with all those hot buyers that are cashed up, ready to go, we want to have accurate requirements. Okay, so we had to search and match those people to properties very easily, and vice versa. Okay, and how we do that is through a lot of CRMs. It's we're applying category or tag. Right? Depends on what CRM you're using, but each agent I recommend has their own hot buyer tag.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And in some CRMs, that can actually be only visible to that agent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one little takeaway, and you can, if you don't have that, you can talk to your admin, whatever. But I think that's a good direction.
Yeah.
With your OFI callbacks, goes to that saying, don't wait till Monday. The good agents I'm hearing, they're on the phone Saturday. They're actually doing the phone calls on Sunday. They're really being really proactive and not waiting for Monday when people are at work and you can't get hold of them.
Yeah. No. Exactly.
Right.
Agree. Yep.
Yeah, and if people don't pick up the phone, have a follow-up SMS templated.
Yeah.
Either in your phone or whatever system you're using, but every CRM has the ability to send that SMS directly afterwards.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Really important. And check off the people that you did connect to. So again, each CRM is different, but you got usually check boxes or ways of determining, okay, I spoke to these people, didn't get onto these people.
Yes, because otherwise you forget.
There's little tips and tricks in there, right, for each CRM. And how you use it. But each time, again, really be clear on requirements and updating those. So when you do that buyer match property to buyers and so forth, that can be really powerful, right? Not only for SMSs, because SMS is a really powerful channel with the buyers, especially if they're coming to over inspections and so forth. But yeah, with the emails as well.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's the buyer management. Hopefully that was like not too much. But
it is getting people just to focus on the things. Real estate is simple, as I said. It's, find a seller, find a buyer, match them up. That's real estate. So, if you're working your hot sellers, you're working your hot buyers, and we don't need, social media is great and all that, marketing yourself, but it's also just doing the groundwork, finding those people. You don't necessarily need
profile building,
have all of that other stuff in order to make a sale.
100%.
So it's good.
The other side of the equation, of course, the ones that agents are very keen on is the seller focus, right? So and what I'm finding is in a lot of the databases I've been seeing in the past few weeks, the appraisals have been an absolute mess. And they're polluted by all these old appraisals, hopes and dreams, which are just clouding and getting in the way. So appraisals older than 12 months, I just say close them off. You can replace that with a category, but it's not like your key focus. These are the people looking, intent to sell in the next 12 months. So you got your hot list of up to 3 months, then basically everyone else, 4 to 12 months, and just keep that really simple, right? And so with that hit list, know your conversion number. What I'm also seeing is a lot of good agents with your hit list probably convert about 50% of those, some higher, but I'm just saying, 50%, if you just run by that, then you just sort of track, well, if I got 30, I got converting 15% over the next 3 months, that I got some good opportunity there.
Yeah, good listings. Yeah, exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so the pace of communication, this is one of the big reasons, right? We want to be organized around time frame. It's the pace of communication for these people. You want to have a call, definitely connected call or SMS, but every 14 days. So that's the rhythm of communication with these hot people. But anyone that's between 4 to 12 months, you probably do monthly phone calls.
The hot people, you ring the
So,
hot.
no, the 4 to 12.
I'm joking. I'm joking. The hot.
Right.
Yeah, no, joking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's finding non-pest ways of contacting them too. It's not like, are you ready to sell yet? Are you ready to sell yet? Are you ready to buy yet? Like it's working out an elegant way of contacting those people as well. You know, non-pest. You know, offering your services to you know sort of move them forward in the pipeline.
100%.
Yeah.
And to help people with that, you know, it's a classic, you know, be organized around your justice and just solds, right? And it doesn't have to be your listings. It could be any listing on the market, being really helpful. If there's a sold result, you know, close by in the street or around the corner, just calling them and saying, hey, just letting you know this property sold for 1.2 million. It's actually pretty good price. It just shows that the market's pretty stable at the moment. And if you were to go to market over the next, you know, few months or whatever it is, then
minutes. I can come over now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. But no, it's always meeting people where they're at. That's so important.
Yeah.
And just keeping them informed. Because another thing I'd love to highlight is that every person you call, it goes beyond that person. So your goal is to be the agent for their family.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right. And also just a little highlight, you know, we're actually coming to an incredible time where a lot of you know, Gen X's own property and their parents are moving on. All right. So, you know, my parents are, you know, 78, you know, to 80s. You know, that's a time where, you know, there's a bit of a transition, right? Transition of wealth, and there's a lot of properties going to be sold.
Yeah,
so be the family agent because you'll be mixed up in all sorts of different transactions.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. As people move on.
That is an agent's goal. Like, you know, as we always say, you know, someone has a solicitor, they'll have an accountant. You really want to be their real estate agent. You really want to be that person that that people ring and say, what do you think about this? I'm thinking about doing this, and they trust you enough to get your advice and then obviously employ you as well. So that's really, to me, that was always the goal of being that trusted advisor.
Yeah, 100%. That's definitely right.
Yeah.
Just finishing off on the seller, the seller actions, really, to the rhythm. You know, with those people that live around any listing you have. Okay, so this is your listings. Then, yeah, just religious about those open for inspection invites. Like, hey, come and take a look.
Yeah.
Right. This week in with the neighbours, because statistically speaking, you know, within 6 months of a property coming on the market, there's probably one of the neighbours will come on as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Auction invites if you do auctions, but we want to focus on that 250 meters radius, 500 meters radius, you know, and just really follow up with those sold results. And this is all about being really organized. And there's tools out there to help you to do all of this. There's CRMs that have this functionality that actually helps you do this as well. Okay, so
make life easier. And that's when we talk about tech as well. You know, there's so many things that help us now that we never had years ago, you know, so that's some of the things that we're going to talk about too, isn't it?
100%. Yeah. So, and look, this is always evolving. And I always say, look, this type of activity, it's not just, you know, this is all done with tech, but if you don't have time to do this, there's other like offshore or yeah, there's actually affordable offshore people that can do this. Like there's other companies. I don't know if you have any that you've worked with offshore, but there's emerging one is Wingman. You know, that's pretty popular, and there's affordable staff. There's all sorts of different models to have, you know, people that actually do all this for you.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Don't feel like you have to do everything.
Yeah, exactly. And you've got to get to that point, you know, like I talk to some agents and they're brand new into the industry and they're like, I've got to get a PA. No, you've actually got to learn how to do it. You don't have the money to be able to pay a PA yet. You've got to get to that point where, you know, you're getting the results that it's worth it, you know, or you are in a position where you can afford it and they're doing the little bits and pieces that you don't want to do, you know, but you've just got to be careful. You just got to balance up that expense. No.
Yeah. That's correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're the main things I just wanted to share today. It is, to me, fundamentals. A lot of agents probably heard of a lot of that before, but they've sort of let it go a bit.
Yeah.
Now's the time to tighten it up, know the numbers, do these core activities. Really founded in setting up the data in the CRM and doing all that. And what you'll find over the next 6 months, there's solutions that will come out and just automate a lot of this for you to help you streamline and get in the flow of all this, right? To make it super simple, right? So that's what's emerging.
And it comes back to the clean data. It's worth spending time to tag it properly, to categorize it properly, to have the right details, to have the right information. We're so busy sometimes that doesn't happen, so just make time at the end of the day, even if it's like 10 minutes at the end of the day religiously, you just update your database, just go in, categorize, tag, put the notes, because you forget the next day, you forget who was that again, I can't remember. And you want to have those details there. Next time they ring, you can just quickly look up, I know exactly where they are. And you sound more professional because you remember who they are and you remember their situation and everything else. So the more data you have, the more professional you're going to look as well.
Correct. And I, just to extend what you're saying, that's great. I think about the more data, because if you only have like 3 people in your database around a listing, right? With it, that's probably not ideal, right? You want to have 30 or 50. Yes. So that data is actually sitting in ID for me. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So see, there's 2 things. And a lot of good agents have got ID for me accounts. They're doing searches. They're doing the work. Yeah. Right, themselves. And they'd actually have to have a few things in front of them. They have their CRM, got ID for me, and they have access to CoreLogic or Price Finder to see, okay, well, can I see who owns this property, right?
Yeah, definitely.
What I've described before is a growing trend as well, which I'm working with clients on, is to import or get hold of all that data. Like if you say, I want all the data of property owners, valid property owners in a suburb, that means that if you've got that in your database, it's less resistance. It's actually at your fingertips. You can actually send a message to everyone or most people that live around listings. Okay, they're on the market.
100%. Yeah, cool. All right.
So that's the other thing you can do.
Perfect. All right. So next, we've finished that now. We can talk about what is out there. Yes. So AI, what is out there, not necessarily what we're recommending, but what some agents are using. So what are some of the things that they're using?
Oh, look, so let's come back to that. Remember how we were going through, posting, creating content and images, those sorts of things. It's just what's happened now is, Mid-Journey. So if anyone hasn't played with Mid-Journey, and if you're unsure, just type in Google how to use Mid-Journey and it'll tell you everything. Okay. But it's really worthwhile because that means you can create really cool images. It's that whole engine's been upgraded. Yeah. Right. So just very recently, okay, in the past week or 2. So it's version 6 now. The images are much, much better. And so remember past episode, we did image of like Tom Cruise or something like that in front of a house as a real estate agent. But you guys, anyone listening, they could, the prompt actually is imagine, right? /imagine, and then you say, okay, create this image. And it's really powerful. The detail, but where we're leading to is video, short video clips. Okay. So if you want to have little filler, little video clips for social media or whatever you like, that is created at a very low expense, just via a prompt, and you create really high quality videos and images via Mid-Journey. Okay?
And targeted to what you want as well.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So content generation, creation, and distribution, the cost of that is really coming down right now.
Yeah, right.
So basically,
the more people that get in on it, like the more companies that get in, it'll get cheaper and cheaper as it does, doesn't it?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So that's one tip, and just to remind everyone that there's more and more solutions out there. There's so many .ai companies out there that are really helping with anything they want to achieve around, SEO, website, content creation, all those things, and maybe just I'll put a few. Don't want to overwhelm people, but maybe put in 3 in the show notes that you can take a look.
Awesome, awesome. And so we were going to talk about there's some agents now that are using AI to make phone calls as well.
Yes, correct.
So I heard one the other day and it sounded really good, actually. You couldn't even tell. But then I was talking to somebody else who had one of those phone calls and they said to the AI person, what's your last name, Greg? Because I said, this is Greg or something. What's your last name, Greg? And he said, and the AI said, I'm sorry, I don't have that information right now. So you've got to be careful, using that sort of thing. It sounded good and whatever, but how bad are you going to look if it's like, those things happen,
Yeah.
and obviously it'll get better and better. But, to me, I don't like those things personally. I think you're better off to say what it is at the start rather than try and purport that it is a real person. I always feel like, hi, I'm such and such an assistant and blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Rather than, hi, this is Greg and da, 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 da.
Really good. Yeah, I like what you're saying there. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because like my Facebook feed is full of ads of companies, promising AI calls for real estate.
Yeah. And they can do like, what are they saying? How many can they do in an hour?
It's unlimited.
Yeah, that's right. So it's just
basically
like
on your budget. Usually,
call it ghost calling or something. What do they call it?
no, this is not ghost calling. Ghost
What's
calling
ghost calling?
is basically where you got a missed call, but it never actually rang, and it's a
Yeah, and it
voice.
goes straight to the voicemail.
Yeah.
That's what I thought this did. Oh, no, it doesn't. Yes, sorry. No, this is a conversation, isn't it? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Ghost calling is, yeah, that's right. It goes straight to the voicemail and it would be, hi, this
Which
is
could be
great.
okay.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been around for a while, but the AI calling is, yeah, like you said, it's like a real phone call.
Yeah.
So what I this is my belief in this at the moment, it's probably good for inbound calls.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want to make sure that you've got all your calls answered at the office or via mobile, then inbound calls we can say, hey, hi, it's John, just an AI assistant. So that's where you can actually just easily say that. Just want to make sure that we can pick up your call and help. Can please tell me what you'd like help with, right? So something like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
Outbound calls, like you said, the technology is still got a bit of way to go. There are some mature models out there that are worth considering, but a lot of those models.
If I suspect something's an AI, then I'll keep asking questions until I find out it is. You know what I mean? It'll be like on a bot, it's like, are you a real person? And then I'll say something else. And then it's like, you're asking different questions. And then you go, okay, you are,
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people, they'd appreciate if they knew if it was an AI.
I think so too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do have a client, who's looking to do outbound calls, by AI. So we see how that goes.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to other agencies where they want all their inbound calls answered, especially.
It's a numbers game. If they can do 10,000 calls in an hour, it's going to be, some aren't going to be successful and a lot are. If people don't ask those questions, I guess it's just a numbers game, isn't it?
Yeah. So how it usually is charged is like $20 per hour. So that's length of phone call, right? So time in the phone call. So you got to consider your budget, and
it's not just $20 for unlimited calls. It's like $20 for an hour. So if they're making 10,000 calls, it might be equivalent to 4 hours or
more,
or 400 hours or whatever
it
is. Yeah.
So you just it's a different concept because time is different, isn't it? You're not paying someone on an hourly rate. You're paying for that exact length of the phone
connect to hang up.
at a certain
and if you
rate.
get Ismay that I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say names. If you get somebody who's talking a lot, then that's obviously going to increase the costing as well.
And then if a long conversation, the AI bot needs to have the sophistication built in to be able to handle that. But usually, the less sophisticated don't. And there's a lot of training that's involved. So if anyone goes down that path, please do a lot of testing. And it's probably not the amount of testing that's probably required may not be the best use of an agent's time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To achieve that result. But yeah, it's interesting space. We'll stay tuned. If I hear stories, we'll report back to you.
Sure. And what else is there? What about chat bots and things like that? How much have they advanced now? Have you got any
chat bots? I haven't really looked into chat bots too much.
Okay.
My thing about chat bots is it's a matter of, traffic. Is it really worth it?
Yeah.
And does it service, beyond what's already on websites anyway?
I've seen some pretty good ones. Sort of, one of our guys actually in EXP does it quite good. I mean, they're getting better and better all the time too, but again, I would say that I'm a chatbot or virtual assistant or something like that,
Yeah, that's right. There's some pretty good ones out there. It's a matter of, well, if you're investing and putting on your website, then how many people actually use it, what are the outcomes, and just understanding, are you really getting the outcome that you wanted to achieve in the first place? Right?
And Sean Egan, I couldn't think of his name for a second. Then Sean Egan, that does it. But he does it quite well. Like he's got like, you come in off an ad, and then it's like, would you like a market appraisal? What's your address? Oh, is this your property here? Here's another photo of your property here. Here are some comparables while I just check. And it sounds really believable. Like it's actually a really good conversation. So there's some really good ones like that too.
Yeah, great.
That's where AI is going. Like I think it's exciting. I think it's even if you don't do it, but it's out there, and you can just sort of follow along and see what's happening. But it's still a long way to go in some things. And I just think it's interesting to sort of know what's out there.
Yeah, definitely. I think, but how I see it is you don't want to get too caught up with that. You just want to qualify quickly, and if it's at a certain point, we want to exit the technology and get a human involved.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So you don't have to be too clever, in my opinion.
Yeah.
With all this chatbot stuff. So, that's I really recommend, getting a person involved as soon as you realize actually this person does need to have a phone call. Because that's where the transaction trust is built.
Agree. So with those ones that are calling, say that the ones that are calling, it's a two-way conversation AI. So how do they then deliver that to the agent? Do they do like a summary of all of the calls? Like how is it actually, if one calls, how does the agent, I wonder, get access to the data to know who's the hot one, who's not?
At the moment, most of the solutions out there are not connected to their CRM at all. Okay. Right. That's one thing. So they either have to log into another platform or they get an email, right? Which needs to be double entered into their CRM and copy and pasted and all that stuff.
That's a very cumbersome thing too. But if on one of those 10,000 calls it does it in 2 hours or whatever, if somebody says, actually, I would think about selling, like, is it they've got to say those words and then that's sent to the agent, or does the agent have to go through each conversation and find it?
I usually be a transcript. Yeah. So usually there's a transcript, and if it's a good solution, it'll summarize it. So it'll actually summarize the entire conversation into key points, right? And then that can be shared with the agent. So
and then it might be tags or something. It might be, yes, I'm thinking of selling, could be a tag, or you know what I mean? Not that, but if they say a certain word, you might be able to filter through that word or something like that. Because otherwise
AI is looking for intent. So certain phrases to say, okay, this, if they say things like this, then it's a yes, qualified, worthy of passing on.
That's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. So when you get a voice call, when you get a phone call and you think it might be AI, ask some tricky questions just to see if it is.
And some of them are not so great. There's a big gap. So some of those recordings you listen to, it's like for them to respond, it's like 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
You still there?
So
some of them you can really
announce it. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for another episode of Let's Talk About Real Estate. And then we'll see you next week.
Fantastic. All right. Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks. See ya.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you have a question about real estate, then please join the group on Facebook, also called Let's Talk About Real Estate. For those of you who are interested in EXP, Please join us at 10 a.m. Brisbane time every Wednesday morning for EXP Explained. Thank you again for joining us, and don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, and see you next week.